To many, Ozzy Osbourne was the mythic Prince of Darkness, a revolutionary force in music, the voice of Black Sabbath, a solo rock titan, and an unforgettable reality television figure. His life was as chaotic as it was iconic. He was a symbol of rebellion, excess, survival, and reinvention. But for Kelly Osbourne, he was simply her father, her anchor, her fiercest protector, and, as she tearfully confessed, the best friend I ever had. Ozzy's passing sent shockwaves through the entertainment world, but no tribute captured the depth of his impact more poignantly than Kelly's emotional, unfiltered words. In that moment, the myth of the metal god gave way to the reality of a devoted dad, and the story that unfolded in the days following his death would redefine how the world remembered him. Behind the grief, the untold side of the Osbourne household. Ozzy's decline had been a source of public concern for years. With a Parkinson's diagnosis in 2020, compounded by serious injuries from falls, major surgeries, and public battles with chronic pain, fans braced for bad news. Yet, behind the headlines and paparazzi snapshots, a quieter, far more intimate struggle was unfolding, one that centered around Kelly. Those closest to the family now reveal that, in his final years, Kelly stepped away from the limelight not out of career disinterest, but because she had taken on the role of emotional caregiver. Her silence, her absence from red carpets, interviews, and fashion projects, these were all sacrifices made to be by her father's side. She visited him daily, often arriving early in the morning and staying until he fell asleep. She read to him, sang with him, and simply held his hand in the silence when there were no words left. Her public disappearance was a private act of devotion, a daughter's final stand for the man who had always stood for her. Growing up, Osbourne, a legacy of chaos and love. Long before the world saw the Osbournes as a reality TV dynasty, their lives were far from normal. Kelly grew up amidst the whirlwind of fame, addiction, and intense media scrutiny. From a young age, she watched her father battle demons and triumph through sheer will. And even when he was struggling, she never saw him as weak. Even when he was falling apart, he was the strongest man in the room, she once said in a 2019 interview. That strength wasn't in his stage persona. It was in the quiet moments at home. When tabloids attacked Kelly's appearance, lifestyle, or opinions, Ozzy was her defender, stepping in when the world was loudest. He'd remind her, "You're stronger than you think, and I've got your back always." Those words, repeated like a mantra throughout her childhood and adult life, became the lifeline she clung to in her darkest hours. The final days, a silent vigil. As Ozzy's health deteriorated, the family closed ranks. The usually open Osbournes retreated from social media and press circuits. Kelly became a fixture in her father's life in those days, not for show, but from love. Friends say she would cancel everything to be there, even if it meant simply sitting by his side while he slept. She shielded him from media speculation and quietly managed his care with a strength few could have maintained. During this time, she also became increasingly close with her mother, Sharon, finding solace in the shared role of caretaker. The family lived in a state of suspended grief, mourning each day that Ozzy slipped further from the man he once was, yet cherishing every moment they still had. The tribute that shook the internet. When the day finally came and the world learned of Ozzy Osbourne's death, Kelly remained silent for hours. Then, a single Instagram post, a black and white photo. Kelly holding her father's hand, the lines between their fingers blurred by time and tears. Her caption was simple but shattering. "I lost the best friend I ever had." In a world where celebrity grief is often managed by publicists and glossed with filters, Kelly's rawness was a jolt of reality. She didn't hide behind metaphors or empty platitudes. "He wasn't just my dad. He was my lifeline. I don't know how to be in this world without him. I just know I'll try to make him proud." That confession resonated with millions. It wasn't just the loss of a musician or a pop culture icon. It was the primal scream of a daughter who lost her home. The viral clip, Ozzy's last birthday days. After her tribute, a 42-second video leaked. It was never meant to be public. It came from a private family WhatsApp group and showed Ozzy in a wheelchair, frail and ghost-like, surrounded by Sharon, Jack, Kelly, and a few close friends. A modest birthday cake with one candle sat in front of him. His voice, cracked and worn, quietly sang, "Happy birthday to me," while Kelly, tears streaking her cheeks, held his hand and joined in. "You're my miracle," Ozzy said, almost inaudibly. "You're my whole world, Dad," Kelly responded. It was one of the most humanizing moments ever captured of Ozzy. No pyrotechnics, no screaming fans, just family, just love, and just how fragile life can be, even for legends. The clip went viral almost instantly, not because of its spectacle, but because of its intimacy. The world reacts. From fans to fellow legends, fans flooded social media with stories of how Ozzy's music got them through heartbreak, addiction, or simply the trials of adolescence. Rock legends, some who had toured with Ozzy, others who had once competed with him, shared their memories. Sharon Stone, Elton John, Post Malone, and Miley Cyrus all paid tribute. Yet none struck a chord quite like Kelly's. Mental health advocates and grief counselors began citing her post in articles, podcasts, and counseling sessions. Her transparency was hailed as an example of authentic emotional processing. In a digital world curated to perfection, Kelly Osbourne gave us something real, something sacred. The letter that changed everything. Then came the letter. Discovered by Sharon in an old leather-bound journal Ozzy kept by his bedside, the letter was addressed simply, Kelly. Written in Ozzy's signature shaky script, it was filled with private reflections, gratitude, and what family insiders called the truest version of him. He wrote, "You've always been my voice of reason. Even when I was chaos, you gave me a reason to be better. You saw me at my worst and still loved me like I was worth saving." The letter didn't end with memories. It included a request. Ozzy asked that Kelly carry on the heart of the Osbourne name and raise her son with the same love and fierceness she showed him. He also requested one final gift, that an unreleased song, written for Kelly when she was 15, be shared, not with the world, but with her, as a personal legacy. Upon reading the letter, Kelly reportedly collapsed in sobs, clutching the journal to her chest. She later shared a small excerpt online. "He told me I saved him. But the truth is, he saved me every single day." The memorial, a farewell. Like no other. At the public memorial held weeks later, Kelly stood before a sea of mourners, including musicians, family, and fans, and spoke for the final time. If you only knew Ozzy through his music, you missed the best part of him. He was fierce, fragile, broken, and brilliant, and I gotta call him Dad. Her words hung in the air like a final chord, raw and echoing. A legacy redefined. The narrative surrounding Ozzy Osbourne has now forever changed. While his name will always be associated with the theatrical, the rebellious, and the loud, he will also be remembered as something else, a father. A man who, even in decline, poured his remaining strength into the ones he loved. A man who wasn't afraid to admit vulnerability. A man whose legacy lives not just in platinum records and screaming fans, but in the heart of a daughter he adored. Final thoughts. More than a rock star, Ozzy Osbourne's life and legacy have always been larger than life. Full of wild energy, unforgettable music, and a chaotic persona that seemed to embody the very spirit of rock and roll. But Kelly Osbourne's tribute to her father did something far more profound than just recounting his public image or career highlights. It wasn't merely a eulogy, it was a deeply personal portrait, a heartfelt love letter, and a cultural reset all rolled into one. Through her words, Kelly invited us to look beyond the heavy eyeliner, the wild antics, and the loud persona, urging us to see the man behind the legend. The man who was a father, a son, and a human being with his own vulnerabilities and complexities. In her tribute, Kelly stripped away the chaos to reveal a tender side of Ozzy that many of us may never have fully appreciated. She showed us that beneath the loud, rebellious exterior was a private soul. Someone who loved deeply, felt pain, struggled silently, and cared fiercely for his family. It was a reminder that public figures, no matter how larger than life they appear, carry the same human emotions as everyone else. They laugh, they cry, they ache, and they love. For decades, Ozzy Osbourne taught the world to live loudly, to embrace the wild, the unconventional, and the untamed. He was a rock god who didn't just push boundaries, he shattered them. His music and his persona inspired generations to express themselves freely and unapologetically. But Kelly's tribute revealed another lesson, one about mourning with quiet strength and grace. She showed us how to honor someone's life not through noise and spectacle, but through genuine emotion, reflection, and love. This tribute shifted the way many remember Ozzy Osbourne. Instead of focusing solely on the larger-than-life rock star, we're encouraged to remember the man, the dad, the husband, the friend, who had flaws, fears, and an immense capacity for love. Kelly's words allow us to humanize a figure often seen as mythical, reminding us that even rock gods have tender moments, personal struggles, and a deep commitment to their families. What Ozzy Osbourne meant to me goes beyond his music or his persona. He was a symbol of rebellion and freedom, yes, but also a reminder that strength often comes hand in hand with vulnerability. His journey, from the highs of fame to the challenges of health and family, reflects the complexity of human experience. Kelly's tribute deepened my appreciation for this, showing me that honoring someone's legacy means embracing all parts of their story, not just the parts that made headlines. I invite others to share their own stories and memories of Ozzy. Let's honor his legacy not just by celebrating his music and wild spirit, but by acknowledging the humanity behind the legend. By doing so, we keep his memory alive in a way that's authentic and lasting, recognizing that behind every rock god, there is a person who loved and was loved in return. Kelly Osbourne's tribute reminds us all that grief can be quiet but powerful, and that sometimes the greatest lessons come from seeing the tender side of those we thought we knew so well. Through her words, Ozzy's legacy is not only preserved, but deepened, reminding us never to forget that even the loudest voices can carry the softest hearts.